Great, let's call the work session to order. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bajent,
Oh, here, I thought everybody was here because I was late. He's not here yet.
Clegg,
Here.
Burton,
Here.
Sanchez, Thompson,
Here.
Woodings,
Well, she's there.
Oh.
Can you guys hear us? Holly can't hear us. She can't hear us. Holly. And Councilman Bajent, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, will the record reflect that Patrick's here?
yes.
And will the record reflect that Council President Pro Tem's here? And then we've got everybody. And Holly's just having some technical difficulties that she'll discover soon, but we can get going.
Okay, all present.
Okay. Madam Mayor,
Go ahead.
Council,
Welcome.
thank you. Karen Gallagher here with Comprehensive Planning to talk with you about ACHE's Master Street Map 2020 update. So we're just going to give you a little overview of the street map process and what it's for. And then we have 3 items for your consideration. Our request is for you to affirm the direction that staff is recommending and send requests to ACHD. They've requested a letter by July 9th. So the ACHD Master Street Map, it's countywide, and it's a way, it includes collectors and arterials, and it's a way for ACHD to plan the street network, both what's existing and what's proposed, and as well as the ultimate street section, so that when development comes through, they can acquire the needed right of way. And everyone has a heads up, and we all have a plan on where we're headed. The different colors on the map indicate the typologies that ACHD created and memorialized in their transportation and land use integration plan. Besides the street network itself, it also includes the intersections and also the roundabouts at locations. And this document is updated every 2 years. And then it's incorporated also into their capital improvement plan. So we've worked with ACHD on probably over 24 items to update in the master street map. And we just have these last 3 for your consideration to send to ACHD. So the first is Warm Springs Avenue. And so here's an aerial of it. It's the portion, it gets a little confusing because it actually runs from Park Center to another intersection with Park Center and then over here to Eckert Road. So I'm going to switch back here. So the plan has been when Harris Ranch came through with this specific plan to have this build out to 5 lanes. Currently it's built at 2 lanes. There are roundabouts planned on it as well, and it's in for 5 lanes. Park Center to the west here is at 5 lanes. To the east of Eckert Road, it was in for 5 lanes for many, many years. And then most recently, ACHD studied that as well and agreed to backing that off to 3. So here are the cross sections from the specific plan. The top one shows the intermediate kind of temporary condition of 2 lanes, bike lane, detached sidewalk. And then at the bottom, you can see what's the median with the full 5-lane build out that's proposed and on the books right now. And so what we'd like to talk about is reducing this 5-lane section to 3 lanes. So again, here's the master street map showing the different typologies that we're talking about. And specifically, we want to, it's in the next slide. I'll go here. From this purple part, that's the town center, all the way over to Eckert is what specifically we'd like to talk about recommending going to 3 lanes. Included in that are the roundabouts that are in the study right now for at least dual roundabouts. And we'd like to talk about reducing those as well. So the 5-lane cross section this was brought to our attention by the Barber Valley Neighborhood Association, and they have concerns about how people will be able to get around in their neighborhood, walking and specifically by bicycling. And the inset map here is showing the bike network that was planned many years ago through Harris Ranch. And you can see that this section of Warm Springs is one of the major bicycle facilities. So it, as shown in that earlier cross-section, we've got Warm Springs here at 35 miles an hour and a standard 5-foot bike lane next to the traveling lanes, which today probably wouldn't be our ideal situation or configuration. So their concern is, how are people, especially children, going to get to the area parks, which we're showing here in green, and then we've got Eckert that's actually over the river, as well as the school site that's planned here in yellow. So if you're coming from other parts of Harris Ranch and you need to cross this section of Warm Springs, we're definitely concerned that one, it's a 5-lane facility to cross. 2, traveling along it in a 5-foot bike lane is not really conducive for children or many people, segments of our society that would really prefer something with more protection. So keeping this at 3 lanes would really reduce the barrier that it would create at being 5 lanes. And additionally, we have some restaurants and other residential and non-residential uses that would benefit from narrower street section. So specifically, it's from this roundabout here, which is Wise Way to the north, and then it also has a connection to another part of the Barber development here to the west. So it's from this intersection all the way around to Eckert Road that we are asking for the 3-lane configuration. So to give you just a little bit of an idea of the details that we're looking at, the last, one of the last traffic studies was done in 2016. And in predicting what configuration is needed, traffic studies look at 2 things. Both the traffic volume that's on a segment as well as what's at an intersection. And the intersection is usually the more detailed analysis that gives you the actual delay and what really dictates what's needed in lane configurations and width. In this case, the traffic study said that you can get single lane roundabouts would accommodate build out. However, the segment threshold was exceeded. So the report then went with the segment threshold and said it needed to be 5 lane. So we see that there's enough information out there that would warrant looking at this, that the single lane roundabouts would operate fine. And in all of the traffic studies, it said they should be updated and looked at as we go forward. For what's called SE5 in Harris Ranch, one of the more recent analysis, it does show that the traffic volumes were about at least 11% greater than what's been anticipated. This was pre-COVID, looking at traffic volumes. And of course, we're in a little different situation even now as we go forward with lower traffic volumes. So we think that there's enough information that would warrant looking at the 3-lane, and then for all of the community good that would be created in less of a barrier, all those safety and comfort reasons, we're supporting going to 3 lanes. So again, here's the map, just the segment that we're interested in and the 3 roundabouts that we're interested in backing off from dual and a 5-lane cross section. So are there any questions on the Warm Springs section?
And Mary?
Yes, go ahead.
Is it 35 miles an hour either way, whether it's the 3 lanes or the 5 lanes?
At this point, that would be my understanding. Is it 40 now?
Madam Mayor,
Just second, Council President, I think then Council Member Halliburton might have a follow-up.
I'm sorry.
Well, I thought the council president was going to maybe chime in with the answer there, but Yeah, that's my only question. If it's, 35 miles per hour and you've got 5 lanes there, you're not really setting people up to go 35 miles per hour. So it doesn't really make sense with that configuration anyway. But I was curious if the speed limit was the same on both.
We could make a request to look at the speed limit. Usually that's not dealt with through the master street map, but that's something that we could put on a list for further conversation with ACHD. Okay, so moving on to Lake Hazel, there's,
Madam Mayor, sorry, I did have a quick question about this. Karen, you think it will require a full new TIS in order to get an answer? And if it does, would the city sponsor that, or would we ask ACHD to do that?
Madam Mayor, council member, in just preliminary conversations with ACHD, they indicated that we could make this request and that they would look at the information. They have a little bit of time to do some analysis and to consider this before they take it up in September. So right now we see that there is enough to warrant considering that ACHD already has that would support the 3-lane configuration. So that would be our ideal first step, is for ACHD to look at that information, and we can go from there.
Great, thank you.
Other questions? Okay, it looks like Councilmember Sanchez, you just gave us a thumbs up. Can you hear us now? No, all right. Any other questions? All right, Karen, you're good.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to Lake Hazel, there's 2 roundabouts that we're recommending be included in this update of the master street map. The picture that I have up here is from 2008 and shows the Lake Hazel Gowan relocation and alignment report that ACHD did, and you can see the intersections that were included in that study. So in ACHD's update, they've already included many of the roundabouts we asked for, but not the one at Apple and the one at either Freight or Amex, depending on what maps you look at. So we're asking for those to be included as well. And then I'll move on to Mitchell Street. So this is in southwest Ada County, or Boise. We are here at Victory's on the north, Amity's in the middle, and Lake Hazel is at the bottom of the screen. And you can see the master street map as proposed, and it has a mid-mile collector here at Mitchell Street with some roundabouts proposed at some other collectors coming in east and west. And then it ends here at Arabian Way. This site that's highlighted a bit here in green is the Amity Elementary School. Currently, the master street map shows the continuation of Mitchell Street. And we'll get into this in a little bit more detail. But while we're at the overall map, I also want to head to the south of Amity Road and show you that there is an east-west collector, Highlander, and then we're looking at some connection, a new connection coming up from the south. This is Pearl Jensen Park here to the south. And there's an opportunity to get some connectivity in either the 2 locations that are shown in the dashed red line here. So for the portion to the north, Mitchell Street comes down and would continue straight through on the west side of Amity Elementary. And the school district did work with the city and reconfigure a part of their redevelopment of the site to allow for the street. However, the street, ACHD did not require the extension when the school was redeveloped. So people now, if they're driving, come down Mitchell Street and then would either turn off the collector onto these 2 local roads of either Arabian and Cary that have about 35 front-on homes, or I think about 14 if you go to the other side. So ideally, when you're on a collector, that you would not be going past that many front-on homes and would have a direct connection down to Amity Road. To the south, you can see we've got some large lots that could redevelop that would give us the opportunity to have the connections as shown on the map. These are all fairly long-range considerations for these parcels to redevelop to the south would be, in some time into the future. But planning-wise, this would be good planning to plan for the collectors, and we're looking for council's feedback and mayor to see if this is something that you would support in our letter to ACHT.
Madam Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember.
Karen, I think that this, especially this Mitchell connection makes so much sense. It doesn't make much sense to send a whole bunch of school traffic through neighborhoods when there's a possibility of getting a nice collector. It looks like behind some houses in between that and an elementary school. So I think that connectivity makes a lot of sense to me. And thanks for bringing this.
Thank you. So that concludes the three portions that we're recommending. The first, again, is Warm Springs to go from 5 lanes to 3 lanes on the section from Wiseway to Eckert, and to reduce the roundabouts to single lanes. And then to include the 2 roundabouts on Lake Hazel at Amex/Freight and Lake Hazel and Apple. And then with what feedback Councilmember Woodings just included would be to include Mitchell as a collector both north and south of Amity. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, do we need a formal approval? Or do you have what?
It's always good.
Yeah. Great. Well, I'm happy to make that. I would move that we approve the direction as recommended in items on this slide number 1, 2, and in terms of Mitchell, both north and south arterials. Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Clegg,
Yes.
Halliburton,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Woodings,
Yes.
Agent.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would move that we go into executive session, land acquisition records exempt from public disclosure pending probable litigation labor contract.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Clegg,
Yes.
Halliburton,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Woodings,
Yes.
Agent.
Yes.
All in favor, motion carries.
Where are we going?
Just back to each person's office.
Gotcha. All right. See you in a bit.